世界最速の消防は近い将来義足のランナーかもしれない。
A hearing impaired foreigner asked me directions.
道を尋ねられた。
I was confident with
自
English,
信があったのに
but I
何
couldn't
もして
do
あげられな
anything.
かった。
2020年渋谷超福祉の日常を体験しよう展。この時間はネクストソーシャルウェルフェアと題して日本とドイツ、スペインをつないで議論を進めてまいります。会場の登壇者は一般社団法人超人スポーツ協会の安藤良一さんです。それでは安藤さん、よろしくお願いします。
よろしくお願いいたします。冒頭でまずビデオを再生させていただければと思います。あ、これ映像って今違ってますか？あ、多分動画の映像になってないですね。どうしたらいいんだろう。よいしょ。エスケープのですね。
どうぞよろしくお願いいたします。6人の選手の皆さんを早速ご紹介させていただきたいと思います。花見さん、いかがでしょうか。本日は
私は1回練習したんですけど、今日初めて乗った方がすごい上手で、最初はちょっと焦りました。遊びじゃなくってスポーツとして成り立ってるんだなと。
今日ほとんどの人が
我々一般社団法人超人スポーツ協会が、第1回からこの超福祉展、これまで共催という立場で参加させていただきまして、その中でできた活動、さまざま行ってきましたが、その成果の一つがこのスライドリフトという超人スポーツになります。僕らが車椅子に乗って下肢不自由者に合わせるわけでもなく、彼らが義足をつけてこちらに合わせるわけでもなく、人間にそもそも存在しないドリフトという新しい身体機能で競い合うと。そうすることで、本当の意味でのフラットなフィールドが作れるんじゃないか。でさらに、あらゆる人間にできなかった能力を付与させることで、もうちょっと楽しくみんなで一緒に遊べるんじゃないか。でもそういうコンセプトの下で作られたのがこのスライドリフトという競技になります。本当でしたらですね、実は本日、原宿の丘という会場で、この競技大会を行う予定でした。今流している映像は第0回ということで、コロナ緊急事態宣言前に行ったイベントです。超福祉展に合わせて実際にイベントをするのであれば事前イベント必要でしょうということで行ったものが今流れている映像になります。当然我々の活動っていうのはこれで終わりっていうわけではないので、非常に残念ではあるんですが、過去行ったものっていうのを今回見せることで、その身体的差異っていうものをですね、差です。足の形状であったりだとか、あるいはその腕の形状であったりだとか、僕らの身体っていうのは非常に多くの個性っていうものがあるんですけど、そういうものを超えてみんなで一緒に遊べると。でそれを実現させるのがきっと技術の力で役割なんじゃないかなと思ってます。この超福祉展の中で我々が行ってきたことっていうのは、そういう意味では技術を使うことで身体的再生を超える、みんなで一緒に遊ぶことを実現するっていうのが我々一般社団法人超人スポーツ協会が行ってきたことなのかなと思います。
新しい世界が来た的な。
時まとめるとやっぱりめっちゃ楽しかったって感じです。
走れて楽しかった
なんかすごく私は面白かったです。
あっという間でしたね。
楽しかったんで広めていけたらなと思ってます
ね。で、今回ですね、イベントができなかった理由というのが、新型感染ウイルス、コロナウイルスと呼ばれているものによるものなんですね。ちょっとそれを受けていろいろこちらでも考えまして、対応をどういうふうにしたら、じゃあまた次の世界でみんなで一緒に遊べるのかなみたいなことを考えてたんですね。でその中でとりあえず今回は その前回行ったイベントの動画っていうものを皆さんに共有することで、次のステップを示せればいいなと思ってます。今流している動画っていうのが、イカ身体あるいはイカっていうダンスパフォーマンスグループで行っている新たな身体表現です。可視拡張媒体っていうものと感覚拡張媒体っていうものをそれぞれ装着する、ドリフトができる身体になったりだとか、これまでそのなんていうんですかね、一種身体情報として捉えられてたダンスの動きっていうものから音楽を作り出すっていうことをやってます。この意味ではこの演者神原さんって方なんですけど、結構有名な車椅子ダンサーの方で、この人が一種のマイク集音機になります。観客の音であったりだとか微細なリアクションであっても彼がそれをセンシング取得し、その情報はリアルタイムで後ろの DJ トムシーさんという方なんですけど、この方に飛びます。でトムシーさんがその場でミックス音楽にする。でその時の音源の編集内容っていうのが事前に神原さんのこのダンスから取った音による編集とものをかける、つまりこのダンスで、かかっている音楽っていうものは神原さん自体が、生み出したものでありながら、この場にいる観客の皆さんが生み出したものでもあると。自分自体の身体も表現対象でありながら、可変する身体というものもまた一つの表現になるというようなことをこのダンスでは主張しております。 こういった身体表現やってるんですけど、同時に、コロナ禍です。どういうふうにじゃあ今後一緒にみんなで遊んでいくかっていうのを考えると、当然新しい選択肢っていうものが必要になるわけですね。で今アイテアっていう、GPS 系の研究とか開発をされてる会社さんと、今共同開発といいますか、ご協力いただいて開発しているゲームっていうものが、この陣取りというゲームになります。まだ開発途中なんで、超人スポーツ協会認定競技とかそういったことではなくてですね、単純にこのスライドリフトを制作している会社が、次のステップとして選んだ、連携相手ということなんで、ちょっと紹介させていただきたいと思います。今 GPS 技術っていうのはものすごく進化しててですね、僕らの身体誤差だいたい1センチ2センチぐらいで取れます。何意味してるかっていうと、例えば僕に GPS をつけてリアルタイムでその位置測定をしていくと。でそうすると歩いた位置っていうのが、平面上にマッピングできます。ということは、同じこの台が例えばブラジルにあったとして、ブラジルにいる僕がそのいくつか動いたら、ここにあたかもいるように再現できる時代がもう来てるわけですね。でそういった技術を使って、陣取り合戦をしていく陣取りというゲームが、アイトヤさんと一緒に今連携して、行っている新たなコロナ対策ということです。つまり3密も何もそもそも同じ場にいる必要がなくなってきたんですね。でそこら辺がなんかできるんじゃないかなということで、ちょっと具体的な説明をした動画っていうのをアイトヤさんにまた作っていただいてます。はい、僕らスライドリフトっていうのをこの超福祉と一緒にこれまで開発してきて、身体的再生は超えることができました。ただやっぱり物理的な空間ですね、この制約っていうのがまだ超えれてないと。で陣取りみたいなのでこれを実際に超えることができるんじゃないかと現在模索をしている。でちょっと考えないといけない話題っていうのがここで生まれてくるわけです。次世代の社会福祉って何でしょうねっていう話。2020年以降、新型感染ウイルスもございましたので、さまざまな、環境変化がある中、じゃあ果たして次世代のソーシャルウェルフェアって何ですか。でこれ多分もう皆様お気づきかと思うんですけど、巣ごもり生活が増えてきたことで、もはや 地理的な情報っていうのがあんまり意味を持たないようになったんですね。お隣さんだろうが Zoom で話してれば、その地球の裏側で話してるのは大して変わらんというような話になるわけです。ということは、当然このネクストソーシャルウェルフェア、これはもうちょっとこれまでのその日本とか、東京とか、そういうある程度の地理的な制約を超えた世界的な規模で考える必要があるんじゃないかなということで、今回皆様を、お呼びしております。どうしよう。なんか皆さんがグリッドになって表せれます今。はい。見えないな。参加者のお名前見えるようにしてもらっていいですか。これもしいただけるとありがとうございます。よいしょ。よいしょ。はい。では、それぞれ、ご紹介いただきたいと思います。はい。So, I guess it's better to introduce about Eckhard Fozzi Moritz first. Could you explain about yourself, Fozzi?
Yeah, thanks, Ando, for everything. 皆さんちょっとそういうことは日本語だけ説明できないから英語で話したいと思います。よろしくお願いします。I'm Eckhard Moritz, but everybody calls me Fozzi from an innovation company in Germany, and our vision is to bring innovation to the world that matters to the world. And that is designed and for the people and made by the people, for the needs of the people. And that is very essential to us. And one of the most important aspects of what matters to people is health. And another important aspect that matter to people in order to stay healthy is movement, which is also induced with social cohesion, with fun, and with taking part in actively part in social life. So in that regard, we have been producing quite a number of innovative projects and actually innovative solutions to make people stay healthy, but also to make people play. And now, together with you and with the other people on the panel, we are planning to combine both, so to make people stay healthy by making them move and play. So that is the core idea, and we are so happy that we have managed to set up an international sports innovation network with exactly that purpose. And in that network, we have come across people like yourself and our other partners in Japan, but also in Spain, my friends there, and our friends in Great Britain and South Africa, now extending also to other countries. So bringing people together with a joint idea of making people move more, enjoy life more, play more, all together. Thanks.
Thank you. And the next one, Enrique Alcantara Alcovel. Or could you explain about you quickly?
Yeah, thank you, Ando, for everything. My name is Quique Alcantara, and Quique is a short name for Enrique. I'm the head of sports innovation at the Institute of Biomechanics of Valencia in Spain. In a few words, what we do is trying to combine knowledge and technology for producing innovation that helps people to have a better quality of life. That includes health, but also any kind of product or service that people may need for being happy and healthy. And I would say that our approach is trying to design how people experience everyday life when doing any activity. And that includes not only the physical part of the experience, but also the sensorial and emotional part of the experience. And in this sense, we try to work with companies to introduce technology that produces the right experience so that people can engage and maintain in physical activity, being active and healthy. We are collaborating with FOSI and all the partners in Europe and worldwide, trying to produce this kind of innovation. As FOSI said, the innovation that matters for the people.
Thank you. And then, can you hear me? Sorry. Ambition David? Sorry. Okay, David. Is he present now? All right. So it seems like the network situation is a bit tough. So can we start talk about today's session theme, that is next social welfare? Is that okay for you? All right, thank you. So first of all, I need to say that FOSI, you are already managing a lot of projects, and one of it is actually we are involving right now. That is very surprising. Could you explain about the latest project that you're working for?
Yes, I have already told you about the framework for the project, what is our International Sports Innovation Network. And one of the specific projects we have here, we call Go Wanna Go. That is how we try to find out how can we make those people become more active that like to be more active, especially adults, but they don't like sports so much. So they always find excuses or why to delay things or why not to be active. So we try to find, understand the motivators, understand the lifestyles of those people, but also we are trying to develop solutions that will attract them to move more. And of course, with you, we were very happy to find the Superhuman Sports Society and to see how we can collaborate in offering IT solutions, offering games and playfulness to attract people to move more. And when we have been just starting to develop games in which you have some physical challenge to move more, then the coronavirus started to hit, and we thought, why cannot we develop a game in which the task is to sort of kill the coronavirus? So that is, in a way, maybe a new motivator and an attractive theme. And we are very happy that you very, very quickly decided to help in there and develop the first version of that game, and also the first version of the physical input. So you steer that game by movement you do in front of the screen. But now, of course, we like to see how can we further advance with that game, which is open source now, and also how we can use other types of physically challenging input so that you really have a very good immersion into play and a very good health benefit, but also a very good play feeling. So all of that is now being developed, and I hope maybe we can also address and use the community here to help us go on with it, because I think we address many topics at the same time, so this should be very exciting.
Thank you. So, thank you for introducing about the game that I created. So, for the audiences, I need to explain about one game. This is kind of in Japan, we call it Daruma-san ga koronda like a game that we created. Because by using web camera, which is already installed in your PC, everyone can play in a corona situation. So what the most, how could I say, kind of weird situation which suffered from corona is actually child cannot play outside. We can understand why we cannot go outside, but how about the people who cannot understand why I cannot go outside? But maybe they really want to move their body. This is not only for their health, but is also about their mental health and relationships. So if you lost all of the opportunity to meet with your friends, what will happen? It's really easy to guess. So for that, we created a game which is playable in front of the PC, which I guess most of them already have because of Corona. But the Fuzzy's idea was augmented this. The most surprising thing is he also applying other kind of information technologies. Like if we can sense eye gaze or muscle movement, maybe at the time we can create more profound game. だるまさんが転んだ itself is quite simple, but maybe we can figure out more decorated, more interesting game. But how about to think about how to create that game? Because human resources are very limited. And then his idea, again, that was very critical. He's supposed to create kind of a platform which everyone can join to create a game by using, how could I say it? I forgot, creative capitals. So if those capitals is allowed us to use every time, whenever we want, just only to mention, to put a creator's name. So now we try to create that kind of community, which everyone can join in and create a game by using a lot of materials, which all of them are basically free of charge. So now we try to create that kind of platform, but now we need to go one step forward from it. For example, what kind of game can we, how could I say, imagine to create? And then in a sense, maybe Quickie can give me some latest technologies development that he is now doing. Could you explain about your technologies?
Yeah, Ando. We are working in different fields, but for the discussion, I would just mention that what we are doing in XR gaming. XR gaming is, as you said, trying to produce a physical interface with a virtual reality platform in a way that the physical interface makes people move. In the game you develop, the movement was just people doing some movement with the arms, but then the idea is to develop new interfaces and, for example, trying to link the virtual reality game with a physical training device, like a cycling roller or ergometer or things like that. We are just now starting a project for developing kayaking training device, which is connected with a virtual platform of games where people can do different exercises of kayaking in different environments. We are doing this with a Valencian company, which is Brainstorm, which is also involved in this Kill Corona game. This is one of our latest projects we are working now. But we are now very interested in the way we can use big data and artificial intelligence to produce information which is meaningful for the people in a way that people get engaged and get motivated with the games. So if we have some kind of physical interface with a virtual platform, we have sensors in this interface, we can use the data from the sensors to produce information that help us in getting the people engaged in doing physical activity. Because in the end, what we want is that people enjoys what they do, and in a way that they maintain their level of physical activity. That would be my latest development.
Thank you. That is very great. I mean, so can I ask you something about the system?
Yeah.
So for example, if I create some kind of a game that is applicable for the internet, and then if I can get some kind of a vital data from the game, how can I, so my idea is, how about if I connect with your server to send those data, and then you can collaborate with those data. Maybe at the time, as a platform, you can get a lot of data, but is there any possibility to work with?
Yeah, what we are working now is just in developing this platform, because one of the big issues with data is this legal aspects about data protection, ownership, and so on. So we are now, we have already developed a platform in a way that we can share data and use it for research, innovation, and so on. So that is possible to share this data. And of course, it would be, I think, a good opportunity. But we have to be careful of these legal issues. Because when we work with data about exercise and so on, this kind of personal data, we have to be careful about that. Because at least in Europe, there are quite legal aspects you have to consider.
Yeah, actually, I forgot to think about the legal issues. Actually,
no, but I mean, it is possible to share data. I think it's the big opportunity. Is legal aspect is just one thing to consider.
Right. So basically, we can collaborate with in aspect of data, but the thing is about the law, the different law we have, more exactly, more precisely.
Yeah. What do you mean by?
I mean, I guess those information law is different from your country and my country and other country, I guess.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, in Europe, it's more or less the same. But I don't know about Japan. We should check this. Yeah.
That's very interesting, actually, because in the internet society, we can share those kind of information around the world. Then, in aspect, actually, we can say that all of us can, how could I say, make more healthy. But the only one thing, it can be kind of an obstacle, is about legal differences.
Yeah, but I would like to think that it's a minor barrier. I mean,
oh, really?
I would like to think. I don't know about. I'm not an expert in laws, but I would like to think that we are able to overcome this barrier.
Yeah, I mean,
the thing. Just think that at least in Spain, what we are now trying to develop is that, especially for elderly people, when they do some exercise at home, we can use this data for getting some medical information out of it. It's like doing some medical screening through the data people produces when doing exercise at home. So this is medical data, which is the most sensible data. But again, I like to think that it is a minor problem.
Right. Oh, that sounds brilliant. So to think about next social welfare, which is applicable for around the world, maybe we need to know that kind of system differences to accommodate with.
Yeah.
Right. Thank you. And so actually, you said about aging society, and then to talk about aging society, I guess here Japan is the most hyper-aged society. So now we also need to think about how to create some kind of a system which is applicable for around the world, especially for elder people. But is there any opportunity to work with Germany? Is there any social problem issue in here, in there, like a aging society or something?
Well, Germany is not so much trailing Japan in having also many old people here, and I think there's plenty of opportunities to collaborate together because due to the different cultural settings, so to say, the way you treat the elderly people are different from, in some aspect, from the way we treat them. And especially the playful things that you have been showing also in the video at the beginning, that I know that there's also some product for elderly people could be very much applicable in Germany, because Germans, I don't think they are so serious, but very often at the beginning they don't dare to start with the play. But play is also an important part of quality of life and of staying healthy. And maybe we have some medical technologies that is quite good and that may help to bridge, to be used in collaboration with playfulness, so to offer excitement for elderly people. I think what we need to do and what we are, I mean, you and me and Kike so are already starting to do is really to start the collaboration and to increase on it. We need to make sure that in the messages, it is not only about the sick people, and it is not that elderly people are sick people, but many elderly people are still quite healthy, and we need to keep them healthy. And I think there is already a very huge opportunity how to make sure that the elderly people maintain their self-efficacy and their quality of life, and if they want to be self-serving. That is already an important point. So not only think about how to care like sick people, because then you get sick, but how to treat people as healthy people. And the second important message that we have is that we definitely need to start in the age of adult people, because it is very difficult to change after a life full of stress and of non-playfulness and of little movement, and say, now you are old and now you should move and you should play. This is almost not possible. So in order to care for the elderly, you need to care also for the adults, so that they have a good basis. Healthy aging is a lifelong process, and you cannot just start when you're old. It will not work. So this is another important issue where we think we can team up. And the exciting things you see in our collaboration already, because for you, I was so happy that you say, okay, I can program a first edition of that game, because you have the competencies and the partners, and you are pragmatic. And this is difficult in Germany. And the Germans can then maybe, they are now working on some technology for a new input device. You know, that what we have been talking about already, that you have this rubber-like material, but you have the sensors and the actors in there, so that the resistance changes and the forces are measured. So for a healthy game, also for the upper body, for the power, for your muscles, which is also important. And that is for me ideal combination. You have that technology, material development, a little bit slow but thorough in Germany, and you have the quick and playfulness that you brought into it. And I think this is already a marvelous collaboration. And bring in Spain, you have a very much of an understanding what the quality of life is. And they are much better in Spain than they are in either Japan or in Germany because we are too much work focused. And that is not a balance really. So I learned a lot from collaboration with our Spanish friends than what actually constitutes social welfare, well-being, quality of life, and what can you do to make people enjoy quality of life. And already this is a trilateral collaboration, which I think is very, very useful. And I think the future should be in those types of collaborations. They're so fruitful because we can so much benefit from each other.
So to enhance that kind of collaboration, what was the most important part? Why we could actually realize that kind of collaboration? Is there any reasons behind? Can you give?
There's the reason behind is that there is first is a driving force that is a core network of people who like this collaboration because they think it's important and they are visionaries. So like in our case, it was Chikara, who is a long-standing friend and who connected the two of us. So it's about people. The basic precondition of working collaboration is of people who have the same vision, the same mission, and the same passion. So they all have the passion to create new things and to create them together and to collaborate. And the second thing is that you pick the right topic areas where you think, okay, like in this case, it is an important topic for you, for Japan, but also for the superhuman sports in the future development and for us and for the Spanish partners. And the third thing is that then we find some source of resources, which could be human resources, funding, like now in Spain, if they have this project, it will be easier to contribute. And what we have been doing in the last years is make agencies fund internationally collaborative projects, which make things easier then. But you always start with in this type of collaborative innovation, you start with the passionate people for that.
So actually, at the time we had those kind of materials, for example, drivers and vision and something. So I guess the important part is why we could collaborate was because we could share the same vision, as you said that. So to share the vision, the most important part is it basically very close to say that what our common sense. So and then today's session theme is about social next welfare. Why I put this word is because I want to know about what in your mind when you hear the word welfare. What the welfare is. This is what now I'm thinking. What is welfare? So.
If I can say something, because you really made me think about next social welfare. So what is welfare? And I have the feeling that for some people, welfare is that there's some people in needs, or they are sick, or they are unemployed, or they are disabled or something. And so then to make sure they then have mechanisms to be taken care of. For me, and that's what I would think in the future of social welfare, is that being integrated into a society is a matter of course. So it is self-evident, so to say, that people take care of each other, and we find ways of people for more social cohesion. So that I like so much the video that you showed with this guy in this new wheelchair, and he could now start to move and dance and enjoy. And that this enjoyment can be spread also from there to regular people and do it together, because it is the only thing that is sometimes still lacking, that now he is enjoying for himself, but sometimes he may not feel integrated, so that he's having some tool to play with as a disabled person at that moment, even though he's so fit that he cannot really think. But being part of a community of people who dance and play, and maybe you can, you know, sometimes I even think that lots of everyday people more and more become socially or emotionally disabled. What about them? So they are in their framework and cannot break out. So for me, that the self-evidence of people taking care of each other and social cohesion, that you don't think, okay, I'm disabled, I'm poor, I'm laid off, I have no work, but I am taken care of. No, that it's automatically you feel, okay, I'm part of a society and I contribute and everybody takes care of me automatically. That would for me be the next step of social welfare. And we can develop the mechanisms and the technology also to help people enjoy cohesion, togetherness, like we do even from here to Japan.
Thank you. How about you, Kiki? Do you have any ideas for the word welfare?
Well, I think that we have to talk about COVID, because COVID is changing, at least in Spain, because we are being hit quite hard by COVID. And our society is what is called a high-touch society. Our quality of life depends much on being socially active, meeting with friends, with family, going outside for exercising, for doing sports, just eating out, and so on. And now, with because of the COVID, we are we need to rethink how we redefine our society in these terms, in the terms of keeping in touch and being part of the society. Having said that, as Fossi pointed out, one of the main issues for social welfare in the future, from my point of view, it's going to be mental issues, all the mental conditions that can influence or affect a lot of people in the world, like depression or this kind of mental issues. Thinking about aging, aging is also an issue in Spain, and we have a lot of programs for active aging. And one of the problems with elderly people, but not only in the elderly people, but also in adults, is loneliness. People that live alone and feel alone is a huge problem in our society. And COVID is just brought up how big this problem is. And I think that for the future, we have to think about this, how technology can help us in connecting people that stay at home because they don't like going out, or they just cannot go out because they are elderly, or they have mobility problems and so on. And this, for me, the next social welfare, we'll have to think about how technology can help us in this part of this big issue for the future. And also, when we talk about future of social welfare, and we think about physical disabilities, for sure, sports and physical activity are big tools for getting handicapped people integrating in society. And today, technology can really make big developments for helping them in doing sports and physical activity in different contexts. So I think that in the future, that will be also a huge field for work and for research. But by now, I think we at least in Spain, we need to redefine what is social welfare, because we have to redefine what is quality of life after the COVID. I mean, more or less it will be the same, but we cannot afford by now to have a society which is always meeting with big parties and a lot of people in the bars, a lot of people doing a big marathon with 30,000 people running together and so on, because now we are having this COVID problem again because of that. So at that moment, we have to think about this.
Yeah, I can add something maybe, Ando, because I very much like the points that Keke brought up, and that is also part of our joint vision and mission that you hopefully feel, and I really sort of even worry about my friends in Spain, because they still more than in Germany, it's like a social society, which also means physical contact. So to say that you don't write best regards, bye-bye, but it's abrazos, that means to hug. And it is. And social well-being and also physical well-being in those societies, even in Germany, much depends on the quality of the social contact. And in terms of development of future technology development, that is, I just touched this because this is the context, I think, also of the conference. In Germany, for many years, we pursued the way and the idea: how can you make technology enable a better quality of life for elderly people staying at home? And already 10 or 12 years ago, I thought, no, I don't like this idea so much, because, I mean, of course, this is one important aspect, so it doesn't mean I don't like it at all, but it's not enough, let's put it that way. So, because with all technology, people still are alone at their home, like Kiki said. So you use the technology for them to take part in society and open up. But the much better it would be for elderly people to live together in the first place. So to be more closely in social interaction, and they can take care of each other. And then they can invigorate them, they can help each other, and even if they need external care, it just needs to come by to the whole group, however they live together. So in that regard, the technology, instead of enabling communication, should be developed to enable isolation. So that they, if we work together, but sometimes somehow I feel I need my own space in the social grouping, then maybe you can have technology that enables you to feel that this is your space and that you are connected to some of your old habits, of your old environment, and so it's exactly turning around the development idea from people in loneliness, putting technology so that they feel together, putting people together in the first place, and then use technology so that they can create their own environment and space. I think this makes so much sense, but I never got this topic through yet, because it was a totally shift in paradigm. But we are talking about the future now. That's why I like to add this idea.
Yeah, I agree with you, Fossi. I think that the best way is having planes from flying from Germany, Norway to Spain, all the elderly people from Europe is coming to Spain for not only for holidays, but also for retiring. So we have here a good opportunity for getting all of them together and get. But I think that it's a very good point that, especially we think about the sports. it's like it just come to my mind an example here in Spain about cycling. A lot of people is now using e-bikes for doing route cycling when they are not only elderly but mainly the elderly people, so that they, if they use this electric bike, they can still go cycling with their friends on Sundays, and they because they can keep the pace of the younger cyclists. And here in Spain, the people used to go cycling in groups of 20, 30 people. Sunday morning, after 2 hours cycling, they go for lunch, and a good lunch. It's really a Spanish lunch. And after that, they just 2 hours more cycling and then get home. Before the electric bikes, the elderly people, they couldn't keep the pace of the younger, and they just stay at home. Now they go outside and keep cycling. This is a good example of how technology can help in having elderly people being active out of home. Not only, I mean that we need to think when we talk about technology, let's think in a general sense and not only in information and communication technologies and the internet and the digital world of technology. Just think about it, technology in a more general sense.
Mm-hmm. And what you need the e-bikes is because the Spanish lunch includes a bottle of red wine. So that's for another hour and a half, 2 hours. No, but I much agree. And to just complete the picture, in Germany, the cycling is considered one of the big winners of the Corona time, because it's that you have the physical distancing on the bike and no problem with the aerosols, and also you keep your immune system up. And we are now afraid, because the German winter, the weather gets shit, so that people will now not be using the bike anymore, but also they don't like public transport because they may be afraid of COVID, or they use the mask, which the Germans don't like. So they will go to the car. So now we are just in projects starting to develop solutions, technological information campaign solutions, to make people stay on the bike, even though it's getting cold. This is another aspect, but we are getting afar from the topic, I fear. Andrew, bring us back.
No, you got a point for Roger. I mean, so you guys mentioned about the loneliness and community. For me, the most interesting part of this topic is why sports can create community. So think about how to make community by using sports. I guess there are two ways. The one is quite simple, just playing sports. So there is a players community. But on the other hand, like a football, there are kind of supporters communities existed. So if we try to create some kind of a new sports which is applicable for this Corona situation, maybe that game have to able to create some kind of that kind of supporters community. So, and then I'm very curious about the football system in your country. How to contribute football for the society or community? Is there any specific example to say that the football could create some kind of a local community? If you know
that. Football in Germany is the national sport. So that means from childhood, kids belong to what we call the Verein, which is like an association. It's a grouping, and it's very often a socially organized grouping, non-profit. Only the big Bundesliga teams are profit. The others are, the organization is non-profit, and kids go there and they belong. That is the social thing, is the belonging of people to football, and the joint physical activity makes the feeling of interaction more closely It's different than if you talk or if you do sport together, you reach a new level of social interaction. So the football has this belongingness, which is most important in Germany, and that also translates to the fans, to the spectators, that we say, maybe the supporters. And what I think really is the huge opportunity also of the virtually transmitted, internet transmitted sports, is that the two groups can grow together. Because especially in football, we have been developing one concept long time ago for Bayern Munich. It's the most successful German football team, is how to make fans more interact and become part of football itself, and not only watching. Because if you have fewer and fewer players, real players, successful, like the gladiators, and masses who only sit in front of the TV and drink beer and eat potato chips, this is not a healthy society then, in a way. And it's very difficult for even, we have been making concept for interaction in stadium or at home. But with the new technology that we are developing, maybe football is a very difficult example to participate in the game, but cycling is maybe the easiest. That with your cycle in front of the screen, or sometimes you put that up in the bar, so that's more people, and there's also small spectators, and they take part in races, and maybe they can even take part in real races, so to say. So in that we bring the groups together, and the interesting thing, like in the cycle example, is that you could change your leverage. So if there's elderly people, they say that their force counts threefold in their following the race, so they can still follow, because via the internet, via the virtual augmentation, they can still take part, because they are elderly, they get more leverage on the bike. And so this is still fun, because nobody can really follow a Tour de France race, but you can create new forms of being part of it according to your level, like the universal sports idea that we have been producing together. I think this is a huge opportunity. So you have the followers, but you can also make them participate in the sports, feel the sports much easier than before. So it's a huge opportunity.
So how about you, Kiki? Because Liga Española is, even here in Japan, it's really quite famous team. What happened under the corona for this? Are they? Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, like in Germany, football in Spain is a national sport. But if I have to answer the question of how we can, or what we can do to create a new sport, I would make the difference between the sports that are popular because a lot of people support them, like football or basketball, and the sports that really people practice, like cycling. And I mean, for football, probably 80% of people just follow it, but they don't do any sport. And I would say that football is a big business, a big show, but not a sport as we would like to think of a sport as a way of keeping people healthy. For that, I would take other examples like running or cycling, mountaineering, those sports. And in that case, you have, for this sport, you have like three elements. One is competition, just for the fun or for the performance, like the marathons or big cycling events. People like to exercise and train for competing and meeting people in the events. And that in coronavirus is a problem because we are now seeing to which point virtual events can replace the physical ones, like virtual cycling. Tour de France is a good example, which is now, I think it's working quite well. The second part of this kind of popular sport is about having a common, let's say, background of technology. You know, like if you take, for example, running, people like to talk about the new shoes, the new technology of Nike, the new running smartwatch. They like to talk about Strava and other platforms. I think that people enjoy having all this knowledge and technology background. They can talk about this, like about nutrition, about this kind of thing, you know? Because people like to talk about this, and they also like to spend money buying technology, buying different things. And then I think there's a third element. It's having common places. Common places for me are this kind of element. The people in that sport, they like to talk about. It's like Tour de France. Tour de France is a common place for cycling. Then you have during the summer holiday, a lot of people in Europe, and I think also from other countries, they come to Europe for doing some stages of the tour, because the tour is a common place for the cycling people. And running is also about running the marathon of Tokyo. It's a common place. If you are a runner, once in your life you have to go running the Tokyo Marathon. So this kind of common places are also relevant for popular sports. But just summarizing, I would make the difference between sports like football, which have a lot of supporters and less practitioners, and popular sports, we have a lot of practitioners and less supporters. And for me, the big difference is that in the football, you have TV and internet platforms paying a lot of money for the rights. Cycling, sort of, but in other sports is not this way. So the difference is the TV. And if you want to have a popular sport becoming a big business, you have to think about how you can get money through TV or internet platforms.
Actually, we need to think about how to run continuously by using that sports. So mass media is very strong, but how about YouTube? Now they really make it popular, and then in a worldwide aspect, maybe YouTube is more stronger than any other mass media. So how about if we could really manipulate it to YouTube?
I think that YouTube is becoming mass media because they are starting to.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And as far as YouTube become popular, someone is going to buy YouTube and starting to use it as mass media. I'm afraid.
Right, exactly. See. So today, to be honest, I just want to know about what kind of sports is suitable for next future in aspect of welfare. So now I got some kind of a unfigurative but bit concreted idea. Maybe that game has to be playable for everyone first. And then maybe this sports emerge a lot of vital data which is applicable for example, you Kiki, and so it means sports could create a value just playing it, not need to create some kind of a visual content. Just playing a sports, it means the sports can create a value. And then that value is applicable for our health. Maybe next game have to have that kind of feature. And also, on the other hand, this game maybe can create some kind of a community for, how could I say, observers. So in a sense, it has to be applicable for mass media.
I would distinguish an answer into two directions that you can go. And at this point in time, I leave the spectators out because I know that also watching sport can be a type of social interaction, participation, identification, and it's also part of the whole business. But still, our mission is to make people move and not make people watch other people move. So that is why at this time, I don't care so much, rather than if I can make the spectators move by something. So in terms of movement, opportunities in new sports, what we have been talking about so far is how to translate from existing sport, attractive sport. You see which types of sport are new in attractiveness, or which kind of physical activities like yoga and Pilates also is usually attractive. But also the cycling and the running and other sports, so how they can have more virtual content, so you can make new types of participation, new types of more easy, even in lockdown, you can make a virtual cycling races and so increase the virtual content. So that is being done, and there are still huge opportunities there. But what is almost not done is start from the other side. And there's where I see the huge innovation, the much bigger innovation opportunities. So not think about the sports, because for your health, the physical activity is important and not the sports. So you start from the games, from attractive virtual settings and from attractive games with some immersions that you can play, and you increase the sports, you increase the physical activity in the games. And that is where I think the biggest of future opportunities lie, because the games have some motivation in itself already. And if you use that motivation and that immersion and that I want to stick and I want to reach new level, or I want to experience the playfulness, whatever it is, and add physical activity to it, this is where I think is the biggest of opportunities for future innovation and for future of physical activity.
That's very interesting, actually. Once we thought about that, at the time, actually, we talked about what the difference is between TV game and sports. Or, let's say, is TV game a sports or not? So, at the time, actually, we couldn't figure out what the sports is and then what the TV game is, to be honest. So, for example, now chess is attributed as one of the sports, as a brain sport. It's very interesting. Because, maybe in aspect of movement, chess is not enough to say sports. But actually, some people can realize, or some people can understand that chess is actually a sport. So maybe our activity has to combine that kind of game and sports by using a technology. So, do you have any ideas about the most strongest point of the game? Maybe when we integrate the most strongest point of the game and most strongest point of sports, at the time we can create some kind of a intermediated great sports or game or something. Do you have any idea what the most strongest point for game?
First of all, for innovators, the definitions are not so much important. If it can be called sports or not, that doesn't matter. In terms of health and quality of life, for the physical quality of life, it is the physical activity. That's why often I don't say sports anymore, but physical activity. And this is what we need to come up with. And the game, the important thing about the game is that it is for the target group. It is interesting. It is immersive. And that is also actually what I would like to learn from you, from the Japanese experts. What is immersive gaming for adults? Because many of the games are for the young people, but what is it for adults? And in order to have augmented value, and I like very much you say the best of the two worlds, bring them together. What I really think we need to be developing, and that is what we are trying also with our new band, is that you have the direct force feedback feeling. So very often still that is what we have been seeing with the Nintendo Wii. This is not a real force feedback, because it didn't matter how you with what sort of force you use the controllers, and the best were just out of the wrist. But if your physical feeling and that you feel your force, that is also a very nice feeling in sport. If you feel you're doing the steering, even if you steer the bicycle or a car or the skis or something, the play with the forces and the immersive force feedback, if we can realize that and add to the game, this would be very, very unique. That is what I think we need to be looking for, so that the game is immersive, but the force feedback is credible. It makes sense. It's not just a controller, but it's something that really matches to the game in the feeling also of your delivery of power, of force. And that is challenging, but that is the excitement right now where we are. Innovation challenge.
Brilliant. Thank you. I guess it's better to create some kind of a draft version of the sports first to discuss about more. And then actually your idea was brilliant. So feedback system is one of it. So I guess for the next time what I need to prepare is about draft version of a new sports. And then maybe we can put forth for that kind of next generation sports which is adaptable for social welfare.
Yes, actually what we should do is we put Kiki and you and me and 2-3 other people together again, if we can do it for a couple of days, and I'm sure we will be able to develop just that plot. So having we should be organizing an intensive meeting together again, because the best of ideas in combined with commitment to develop something is when we really are together. But we have the basis, we have the passionate people, and we have the competencies together. And very much like this idea, let's develop a plot where we have the knowledge from gaming and the knowledge from physical activity and the knowledge from play, playfulness and feeling together, and and play with it ourselves. So that would be the perfect next step. And of course, as we were asking next steps, also we will be organizing that Open Innovation Challenge also in preparation for that with ISPO.
Right. So we need to talk about that too. Do you have any, how could I say, like information about the innovation challenge?
Yeah, I will be meeting with Christoph next Friday, and we have been preparing the setup, how we can combine. So what is interesting for the people in the areas of play, in the areas of movement, physical activity, and in the areas of feeling of being healthy. So that is usually lacking. So everybody says, yeah, because of health, I need to, but what is it? So what makes health attractive? And so if we understand that, then the innovation question will be, so where is how do we dissolve this? So where is the catch? Where are the new concepts that address all three things at the same time? So that combine everything. Where are the concepts and where are the innovation potentials? This is more or less how we will set it up. And we have prepared this a little bit also using our prior input, and I will be meeting with Christoph next Friday. So after that, I can communicate how and when we will be starting this together, and also how this could be lead to a sort of hackathon or makeathon next ISPO.
So thank you. Maybe this video gonna be archived so on YouTube, I guess. So it means if he knows about the how to attend that event, maybe we can put that kind of information on the archive too.
Yeah, please do share the link of this, because I want to share it with all our network first.
Thank you.
Because that is also part of the great collaboration of the Superhuman Sports Society and our International Sports Innovation Network already. And I'm sure, because even in while we are talking and with your input and with Kikis, new ideas keep on developing. And that is actually the idea. It's not just a panel, it is also creativity stimulus really for me.
So not only that, the big data, how to manage this is really tough problem. Then to be honest, I gave up to use it. But you paved the way, actually. So, so do you have any comments that you should say here?
I think Kiki should.
Yeah, because the time is coming, to be honest.
Yeah.
No, just to say that I like this approach that both people from gaming are trying to approach to active games, and people from sports are approaching to active sports, both using technology. And this common, I think we need to reach this common space of development of active game sports, where creativity, joy, and knowledge about biomechanics and so on can be shared. And I'm sure that we should get something really interesting out of this new space of collaboration and development. And this is opportunity, I think it's really good for starting to talk about this new space of collaboration. Because people from the gaming, you have all this creativity, you have this, you know how to stimulate people, how introduce sensorial information to stimulate people. And that is really important for producing emotions, feelings, which in sports are also important. And also in sports, we know how to design the exercise, how to measure things from the exercise in a way that the people, first, they do it properly, because otherwise they can get injured. And second, they get information that about how they are doing exercise in a way that they can feel that they are improving, they are progressing in their getting fit or getting healthy. So for me, I think it's exciting, this new space of collaboration from gaming from sports to a new space. I think this idea is really exciting. So let's try to do something on this.
Mm-hmm. Just one question, Kike. Is Aichu still existing?
Yeah,
Aichu?
they are. Yeah.
Because they could be partners. So there is one Spanish play research institute, and could be exciting to also make them collaborate in that.
Yeah, because also Chicho from Beyound, he used to work with Aichu. and they are a research institute about gaming and toys. So sure, we can talk with them.
So Ando, who would be the Japanese partners that we can still include? Who of the Japanese partners are interested to make the worlds of sport, of physical activity and game come together?
Right. So to be honest, I have a lot of friends who are very interested in this field. So most of them are usually only speaking Japanese, but some people, of course, can speak English too. And then when they created the sports, one of the main ideas how to how to develop it is how to spread his idea internationally. So for example, Felipe, he's not born in Japan, but anyway, when I introduced him, he thought about how to spread his idea internationally. So I have few that kind of friends, so I will introduce you again.
Great. So exciting futures ahead.
Thank you. So anyways, so we need to still working for it, but because time is coming, maybe this is the end. So thank you very much again.
Thank you.
See you.
So see you soon.
See you soon. Yeah, exactly. See you soon. というわけで、結局その調布支店、これまで関わってきましたが、これで最後の回ということでありますが、超人スポーツ協会もこれまで関わってきて、この調布支店の位置づけというものが実はございます。それは大概ここがスタート地点になるっていう話で、多分それは今年もきっとそうなんですよね。ここから始まる話を多分皆さんされてると思ってて、この報告をいつするんだっていう話はあるんですよ。だから厄介な話で、ただまあやっぱりここまで参加したこともありますので、やっぱこの儀礼には従うべきだと考えてます。今回僕らが、このネクストソーシャルウェルフェアっていうところで考えた新たなスポーツの創造、あるいはそのインプットであったりだとかアウトプット、アプリケーションまで含めた議論というものをこれから僕らは実際にやることになります。いつ報告できるのかはどうしたらいいんですかね。調布支店の運営さんに聞いたらいいんですかね。いつか発表できるのかって話なんですけど、とりあえず続けます。次のテーマが、当然コロナ禍ですので国際的なものになる。世界中巻き込んで一緒に遊んでいくような新たなスポーツ、それもテクノロジーを使ってさまざまな人が参加できる。またこれまでのビジネスモデルと少し違って、あるいはスポーツすること自体がスポーツのゴーイングコンサーンであったりだとか、要は経済的実装にダイレクトにつながるようなものであるべきだっていう話がちょいちょいと出ましたが、そういったスポーツっていうのをこれから僕らが実際に開発補助であったりだとかさまざまな手を使って現実化していくというようなことを考えております。時間が近づいておりますので、本日この辺で終了させていただきたいと思います。ありがとうございました。
安藤さん、ありがとうございました。以上をもちまして、2020年渋谷超福祉の日常を体験しよう展、ネクストソーシャルウェルフェアという会を終了とさせていただきます。明日も超福祉展は朝11時からライブ配信する予定です。明日もどうぞ超福祉展でお楽しみください。そして超福祉展の今日のこの動画も含めまして、ピープルデザイン研究所のアカウントで YouTube チャンネルで配信を行っています。過去のアーカイブ配信もありますので、この機会にぜひピープルデザイン研究所のアカウント、チャンネル登録していただけると嬉しいです。そして超福祉展のオフィシャルオンラインショップもあります。関連グッズを販売しております。ぜひ公式ウェブサイトからリンクして確認してください。超福祉展で調べると出てきます。超福祉展に関する詳細もウェブサイトをご確認ください。では明日もどうぞ引き続きお楽しみください。ご参加ありがとうございました。